From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, we get to the rest of the Renegade Express mailbag. Which championship player has been undervalued in the years past? And we catch up with Michael Langston to talk recruiting. Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com is the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, the physical address. Daily, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Who loves you? They're open all the time for you, seemingly. Corner Pocket's got daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Fridays, chicken strip basket, hand-breaded chicken strips, served with a dipping sauce of your choice or tossed in a sauce of your choosing. Again, only $8.99 comes with a side dish as well. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Live music this weekend, you said, Corey, possibly, maybe, yeah?
Absolutely, at 8:30 on Saturday.
All right, go
it starts.
Check it
Get
out.
there. They'll probably play 3 sets, Old Tom and the Cats, probably end around midnight, 11:30 or midnight or so.
Nice. Hit the thumbs up if you're listening to us on YouTube. Certainly would appreciate it. 5-star rating and review on the Apple Podcasts sort of whatever ecosystem. Corey Clark's here, everybody. You already heard his voice. What's up, Corey? How are you?
What's up, man? I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. We got some new fast internet over here at the Midtown offices, so that's kind of cool. Although, it's all a little bit ramshackled over here. I'll have to organize it, but feels good, man. Really fast. Going to be able to upload this podcast with the quickness to all the fans. Really fast.
That's great, man. That's great news for everyone.
Yeah. Are you having any similar victories in your life right now, Corey?
I went and got a cleaning, dental cleaning, teeth cleaning on Thursday, right? Okay. Thursday, yeah, and that's never pleasant.
All clear, though? No cavities? You good?
No cavities, all good. Had to look at – I don't know what he was saying. The dentist was saying there's something they got to keep an eye on as far as my gums receding. And I'm like, it's always something with you guys. Yeah. Old big dentistry. Yeah. Always looking for something. Yeah. But no, I am not taking great care of my teeth. But the hygienist that worked on me was a big true crime podcast fan.
Okay.
So we had a lot to talk about there.
Nice. All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about. We got questions in the mailbag. Let's get to them.
Any dental? Are they any dental questions?
I don't see Z-Chan. I think Z-Chan's off the grid right now.
Right, okay.
He's like to do. Quinn67, by the way, got a lot of questions that were submitted before the 4th of July, which I probably should have read on yesterday's show, but, we all fall short of the glory of God.
You could always just skip the 4th of July part if you want.
Well, what if that's the only question?
Oh, well, then, never mind. Don't do it. Yeah. Don't skip it.
Quinn67, wake up. Hope you guys had a great Independence Day. As of Wednesday, we were Tarlos Thomas days away from FSU's football season starting. Less than 2 months, let's go. So we're 58. Who's 58? Like Charles Howard?
I would go with Boulware. Peter Boulware was 58, yeah.
Okay.
I think Howard was 59.
All right. Yeah, I think you're right.
But we're not 58 days away, are we, from the start?
Well, if we were 60 as of Wednesday, now it's Friday.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, gotcha.
Dude, we're going to be in Charlotte, ACC kickoff before you know it, and then preseason practices, man. Pillar weddings, everything, man.
Right.
Summer. Off-topic question for you guys this week. If you could pick any musician or band to watch on the 4th of July, who would you choose to see?
I mean, Lee Greenwood. That seems pretty easy.
That's right. That's a right
Proud to
answer.
be an American. By the way, I'm going to say it again. It's a public service announcement from your friends at Wake Up Warchant. The man doesn't want you to know about it, but there is a song called "Proud to Be a Canadian" that was written by Lee Greenwood.
No.
I 100%. It is on YouTube. You can find it. It has the lyrics are almost the exact same, except he throws in one verse that's Canada specific. But yeah, they're as proud to be a Canadian. And when you look in the comments of the YouTube, I've seen it on YouTube. The YouTube comments, there's more than you think Canadians that have no idea there's another song. That they're just so in love with this version of it. They don't know that there's another one. And look, Lee Greenwood, I don't know if he's still alive or not, but that estate does not want you to know that he did Proud to be a Canadian, but he did.
He did this in 1989.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. You just lifted the curtain, the veil.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I hate to be the person that tells you guys that, Like Matthew Broderick killed a family driving on the wrong side of the road in Ireland. But there's stuff that happened in the late 80s that a lot of our listeners don't know about, and I've got to keep that out there.
And I'm shook. Let's just keep moving.
So to answer that question though, July 4th. Now, does it have to be like specific because you'd want to see somebody with fireworks going off behind them?
I don't know.
Like, because my answer is probably like,
Springsteen,
Pearl Jam or the Killers or Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Normal answers. But if it's, do you think it's got to like have a July 4th tilt?
I get, it's summer. It's got to have that kind of vibe. Maybe like Kenny Chesney, Taylor Swift, my Swifties out there. I don't know. I'd say the Boss, just for my boss, Ira. Let's get Springsteen out here.
That's not a bad one. That's not a bad one. Oh, by the way, another lift the veil. Born in the USA, not really a patriotic song, gang. Anyway.
XCQ004, also known as Derek. Wake up! I missed last week, but my question from 2 weeks ago was to look at the players FSU has got in Coach Mike Norvell's recruiting classes that are still with the program, who has outperformed their ranking and who has performed who has Y, just the letter Y performed compared to their ranking. So I don't know what I thought we did this. Did we not? I thought we answered this, right? We talked about guys that are still at the program that have done well, like guys like Robert Scott, DJ Lundy's kind of a mix. Darion Williamson, maybe, if he can stay healthy. Question 2, since you said I can ask 2, which I guess, he had the question had a typo, so we told him to submit it, and then he submitted another one with a typo. Come on, Derek, tighten up. Since you said I can ask 2, of the 3 national championship teams, which player does not get enough credit for being a key part of that championship squad? I will go with 1993 Clay Shiver, says Derek. He was the anchor of that offensive line, which kept Charlie clean most of that season. What say you? Support the guys, the sponsors, and the collectives. Go Noles. I mean, Terrence Brooks, I feel like you might want to say. Doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, man, I just feel like maybe it's because it's the most recent one, but I feel like all those guys got the proper amount of credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like all of them were stars in their own way and were talked about a lot.
Ryan Sprague, huh? 99? Ryan Sprague?
Okay, I mean, that's an option, sure. What about Keith Cottrell? You had to punt.
Shout out, Keith.
You had to punt every now and again. For the 99, Clay Shiver's a really good one for the 93 one. I'm trying to think of anybody off the top of my head.
Jared Moon?
Well, we want to stick with offensive. Let's go away from the offensive line. Okay. So I would say 99, I'm going to give it to Jeff Chaney.
Okay.
Backup running back. Minor got hurt against Florida in the 99 game down there. And Jeff Chaney became the workhorse. I think he had 25, 30 carries, something like that. He was a really good backup running back. And then he also had he picked up a blocked punt and ran it in for a touchdown against Virginia Tech in the championship game. So I feel like he's a good one. Ron Dugans isn't a bad one either, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like Chaney gets a lot of love, though. Like maybe on Warchant, maybe not, John Q, Florida State public fan, but I feel like on Warchant, when people talk about, like, who's like your favorite Nole that, people don't talk about, like Jeff Chaney's always like it's like, oh, yeah, absolutely, that's the right answer. So I feel like he does get a credit, but yeah, I'll defer to you. We'll go with that. Clay Shiver, also a good nomination there, Derek. Mm-hmm. Shout out to you. VCal 5. Aslan, I appreciate how you go where the rest of the beat seems skittish to tread. Do you feel that has impacted you career-wise in this small market, or is it this putting more on tape for a potential climb to a larger audience? No, man, I'm good here, man. I really do like it here. Like for the first time in my life, Corey, like when I got involved in television, it was always like looking for the next. It was always worrying about like where the next job was going to be. Like I wasn't present. Like I wasn't where my feet were, if you will. It was like, all right, man, I'm in Montana. I want to get out of here. Like, all right, I'm in Mississippi. I want to get out of here. Love both of those places, though. So yeah, no, I'm not trying to put anything on tape. Like if I got fired tomorrow, I wouldn't even know like what to compile. Like I don't have like a take. I don't have my hot takes like compiled and ready to go or anything like that. So I don't know how it's impacted me. I mean, a lot of people don't like the way I ask questions, so that really doesn't.
That doesn't seem to bother you.
It doesn't. No, because I don't think that anything I've ever asked is really unfair. I mean, it makes people uncomfortable for some reason. Like like seeing maybe Norvell a little bit agitated, like makes other people extremely uncomfortable, which I've never understood. But I just try to ask questions, man, that I remember watching the team from a distance, man, and just wanting to know, like, why the hell isn't Matthew Thomas practicing, Jimbo? Just say it, man. Like, can we not ask you on the record? Just like, hey, man, he's not here today. Like, why can we not ask that? Like, I get it. There's, all these unspoken, unwritten rules of being a journalist, but I just try to ask the questions I figured, 27-year-old Aslan would want to know as like a rabid Florida State fan. So I'm fine. I sleep well.
That all works out. That all works out.
I sleep well. Listen, man, like Mike Norvell's not going to – if he's got to draft somebody to write his, biography, I'm not a lottery pick, and I'm fine with that. I don't think he hates me. I don't hate him, so he's nice to me. So I'm fine with it, man. Yeah, once they start being, like, really mean to me, like once I fear going into work, like other people feared going and talking to Jimbo, then maybe I'll reassess the way I act. But right now everything's fine, man.
Well, when you say other people, I think you mean the people that worked with him, not us. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I think nobody on the beat liked them, though, apparently, man. Like,
no, but it's not like we hated our work because of them.
Well, but I don't think, like, people weren't jazzed on Mondays to wait for him 45 minutes to show up late and then be evasive about questions, you know.
Well, you're right about that, buddy. You were right about that.
So, but yeah, no, we're all good, man. Like, yeah, we're winning now. Like, this show's so much better, right? Because, like, it's crazy. When we're winning, I'm not that grumpy. It's funny how it all works. Old Dad's a Nole. He's back. Here we go. Here's the 4th of July question. Wake up! I celebrated the 4th by, of course, including Jaws on the television set. I've always said the guy who played the mayor was an all-time performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those beaches are going to be open. You do whatever you got to do, but those beaches will be open.
What did you guys think of his role, and who are your epic performers in a movie? Cheers to the best, Old Dad.
I thought he, because you kind of saw it from his point of view. Like, and I'm not going to make any comparisons to maybe what we went through a couple of years ago as a country, but you had people telling him, you can't do this. People are in danger. And then you had him being like, well, yeah, but we also have to survive as an island. Like, this is how we make all our money. And if you just tell people they can't come or they can't go swimming or they can't be on the beach, we're going to have a panic. And you know what I mean? Like I liked his character. I also liked when, Richard Dreyfuss is the hot shot, fresh out of college, oceanography school, that they find that big shark. And he wants to cut it open right there on the dock to see if it really is the shark. And he's like, man, we are not cutting open this fish so that little boy can come coming out. We see that boy slide out of his guts. We are not doing that. So he had some sense to him. You always have to have a villain in something like that. But they had some sense to him. And I feel like he did feel bad when that kid basically exploded into blood out in the water out there. I think he felt bad after the fact, but I thought that was a really good character. I like that. He never gets any credit. I don't even know if that guy I don't know if I ever saw him in anything else, but he was really good in that role.
I should pull up his IMDb, but I wasn't quick on the draw. I'm not a big cinephile guy, but just the usual suspects, right? Like,
like
whatever.
the movie?
Well, no, touche. Heath Ledger as the Joker, right? That's like an all-time epic performance. Whenever you've got to like lose a whole bunch of weight, like didn't Christian Bale like pretty much become, I don't know, like rail thin? Like you could see his rib cage in some movie.
Yeah, the fighter where he was Mark Wahlberg's brother.
No, I thought it was another movie.
Probably it's Christian Bale, man. He's crazy.
Yeah,
I know this. Yeah. You better not be screwing with the lights while he's in the middle of a scene, because he will lose his mind on you.
Rocky was on the other night. Rocky, I don't know how Sylvester Stallone didn't get a nomination for Rocky 3 of just the way he wept at Mickey's bedside. You know, just.
Well, and then he had to do it again. He had to pull it out again in Rocky 4 when Apollo died. Spoiler alert, guys, but Apollo didn't need to be in the ring with Drago. That was nuts. And it didn't work out. It didn't work out. And Rocky basically watched his friend get killed in the middle of the ring. Yeah. I was going to say, so I know I doubt this movie could be made anymore, and it wasn't that long ago, but there are 2 performances in Tropic Thunder which are unbelievable. Robert Downey, of course, is just it's incredible
Kurt
that
Lazarus.
even was a thing that happened. Not that in Brady's lifetime, that movie came out. And then he really is hysterical in that role. But then also Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Tom Cruise and just him talking on the phone to with the
Director.
heroine. Yeah. Flaming Dragon. Oh, Flaming Dragon. Oh, why don't you? It's awesome. So those are I'm going with Robert Downey, but mainly Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise is even better than Robert Downey in that movie.
And then on the cinema or TV side, my guy Jeremy Strong, Kendall Roy. Like apparently, like they were really worried about him. Like he was really taking his work home, like just working around all mopey and stuff, like between season 2 and 3. So, shout out to those guys.
And anybody on The Bear is incredible. I don't know if you've watched that show.
I have not. It's worth it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. It is really, really good, and it's a look into a world that I don't know much about. Like especially season 2 is more about fine dining. And I don't know anything really about it other than I like eating at those restaurants, but I don't know what goes on in the kitchen. It's really, really interesting and well done and funny and all that. But you know what I'm saying about that mayor, the Amity? Like you saw his point of view to a certain extent. He wasn't just callous like I want people to die. He's like, we've had one shark attack or maybe 2. We've got all these people coming in for the whole month, and this is how we support our island for the year. And you can't scare them into going back home. Otherwise, none of us survive as a community. But little Jimmy didn't survive at all.
Murray Hamilton.
Okay.
The late Murray Hamilton. Nothing really else that's catching my eye here on his page.
But did he act a lot like after Jaws?
What was Jaws? 78? No, not really. That was kind of. He did make a cameo appearance on The Golden Girls as Curtis Big Daddy Hollingsworth.
That's where I recognize him from. That's right. Old Big Daddy.
Yeah. We're going to talk football soon, I promise everybody. Unconquered, what format is most beneficial for you guys for us to watch and listen to the podcast? I listen on my evening runs, so whether it's on Spotify or YouTube, doesn't matter to me. I think it all kind of balances out. Ideally, I think you would all subscribe to the podcast, like on Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, and leave a review and a rating, like that's 5 stars. But if you're on YouTube and you hit the thumbs up, that's cool too. So, we're not. No one really knows. Whoever tells you they do know, they're probably lying to you. But thanks for asking. That's incredibly considerate of you, Unconquered. You're the man.
Just subscribe everywhere you can. Yeah, and tell all your friends. When you're running and you see people running the other way, like tell them what you're listening to. Show them up.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get a football question. Jangalang, who that we are not thinking about do you predict will have a big impact on the LSU game? Last year, if you had asked that question, I don't think anyone would have brought up Pokey or Shyheim for that matter. So with that in mind, who do you got? I want to go out on a limb, Jangalang says. I'm going to say Rodney Hill.
Oh, all right.
Well, I feel like, we've been heaping praise on this roster core, so this is kind of tough. We'd have to, almost by a virtue of mentioning their name, we'd say somebody that we haven't been all that.
Like, would Toa Feely count?
Yeah, that's somebody that I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, he's your second string running back, maybe. Rodney Hill again, man. I think Rodney Hill might be more of an explosive carrier of the ball than Toa Feely. Obviously, Lawrence is more developed in being able to help out in the pass game, but you want to raise him Rodney Hill and say Lawrence Toa Feely? Sure.
I think so. And, we're still finishing up the Warchant top 40. We dropped, I think by the time this is out, we will have dropped number 4, which is a running back, number 4 on the list, which is a running back. It's not Toa Feely or Rodney Hill. You guys can all guess who it is. But I was looking at what Toa Feely did against LSU. He had 4 rushes for 9 yards, had a long of 7. So his other 3 rushes, he had 2 yards. And then he had 1 catch for 10 yards. We expect more out of that, don't we?
I don't know, man. Like I like.
Come on now.
I want to like Lawrence because he's from Pinellas County, but I don't know, man. I think they've got what they want, obviously, with Trey Benson, man. And I think Lawrence is just an absolute luxury item, man. I think he's a change of pace guy, and I don't know how much. I mean, not maybe. It'd be one play, so that's all it really would take, right? I mean, if he catches a swing pass and breaks it for 37 yards and a go-ahead touchdown, he wins this competition we're having here. So, yeah, that's possible. Yeah, I wouldn't say his name. So, that probably falls in the same vein of guys like Pokey and Shyheim. So, yeah, that would
But then
qualify.
it's like, I don't know who else you'd say. Winston Wright. You're not going to say Johnny or Keon.
Yeah.
You're not going to say Jaheim or Trey or Jordan Travis. So, there's not Mark Easton maybe?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I was, I read this question before we recorded, and I was like, like maybe Winston Wright. Like maybe Winston Wright has a, 4-catch, 70-yard game. 3 of them are first downs. Maybe one's a touchdown, because he's not a guy that's like on my radar right now going into this game. So, but again, we'll see how it all looks when they open up preseason practices, starting in August, we're thinking. But that, maybe that's cheating. So I'll say Winston Wright. You want to put Toafili in? That's fine. Because, otherwise, Omar Graham. Like Omar Graham maybe picks off a pass and stops a drive. I don't see that happening. But again, who saw Shyheim blocking an extra point? Who's thought Pokey was going to be the leading receiver and make some really tough catches in that game either? So, good question, Jangalang. We'll see. We'll see in 58 days or whatever it is. Peter Boulware days away. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code WarChant BOGO, B-O-G-O. Buy one, get one free. Add an item to your cart. Add a second item. Put that promo code in there. Boom. You're only paying for one. 12 bottles. Delicious. 1.93 fluid ounces in the Vitamin Energy Mood Plus. 7 hours of energy. No sugar crash. Like, do you realize how crucial that is, everybody? Like, no sugar crash. Just easy wean off your caffeine. It's all natural. Promotes positive mood. Promotes gut health. Promotes boosted immunity. Boosted focus. Flavors, varieties, whatever you want. Shake it and take it. Try it. You'll like it. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code WarChampBOGO.
What else could you want out of an item? You know what I mean? Especially one that's the size of, I don't know, man. What is the size of? Like whiteout?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a similar. I wonder if they went and got so, because nobody needs whiteout anymore. Nobody uses typewriter. Whiteout must have gone out of business 20 years ago. But I bet they still had a lot of bottles that needed to be used.
Touché.
So maybe Vitamin Energy, that's where they didn't have to go build their own bottles. They just bought them all up from Whiteout. It's like that old Mitch Hedberg joke that he said that he thought Pringles was supposed to be a tennis ball company. And then on the first day, a truck of potatoes shows up, and they're like, screw it. We're chill. Let's make potato chips instead.
VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code WarChantBOGO. All right, few more here, then we'll get to Michael Langston. Get down or lay down. Wake up, fellas. What do you guys think would be more beneficial for our football program? Florida and Miami staying down in the dumps, letting FSU run the state by ourselves, or...
Yes.
Right, yeah. Florida and Miami returning to dominant football programs, in addition to FSU, where every year the national title runs through the state of Florida.
The other one.
Right, yeah.
But I get the point. Like, it was really cool for Florida State. I think probably looking back, it was cool for most fans in the late 80s and early 90s. And then again, probably around the turn of 2000, to be like the center of the college football world. Like 3 of the 6 best programs in the country were in one state. That was a cool thing, and those games meant so much, and the whole nation was watching. But you also didn't mind beating Miami 47-0 either. That was fun, right? Or beating Florida 52-17. Those were good times too.
Yeah, I was wondering, there's something a little bit more satisfying, right? Like 93 having to go into the swamp and beat them the way you do. 99 going back in there and beating them the way you did. Whereas 2013, Miami hung tough for a half, but they were no match. And then obviously Florida couldn't beat a football team that didn't even complete a forward pass against them that same year. So there's a little bit of more satisfaction when these teams are doing a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, if they're down, it's just Florida State just owns this state. That's absolutely the best course for success.
So every year that Florida State's won a national championship, they've had to beat Florida in the swamp, which means obviously they've had to play Miami at home and beat them.
Yeah.
What are they doing this year, Aslan?
And it's got a 3 in there, right? 93, 2013, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
It's all lining up, everybody. It's plus 2,000 over on mybookie.ag. What are you waiting for, everybody? But this also reminds me, too, like there'd be those, those lost decade years, which, by the way, James B. says that we should call the 2017 to 2022 the suck.
The time suck. Yeah, sure.
But that 2022, last year doesn't count. Like 2022 is the beginning, right? Like if Norvell's here for 9 more years, it's like 2022 to 2031 was,
No,
the
I
Mike
think it's
Norvell
17 to 21.
Right.
That 5-year stretch.
Okay.
You'd call the suck.
Okay. And then also, Kalen DeLoach was a blue chip recruit. I have heard you, YouTube. I'm sorry.
Okay. Come on, Aslan, get it together.
Yeah. But this reminds me of, like, in those lost decade years where, Florida's just racking up all these wins. We're slogging through, losing to, NC State and whoever. And, like you'd hoped at least like Florida would lose to make your weekend a little bit better. And then there'd be these posters on Warchant. They're like, nah, man, let them keep winning. I want them to be undefeated when they come to Tallahassee and we play them, and we can ruin their chance of playing for a national title. And I'm like, no, I do not want that, because that's not going to happen.
Right.
Like, we need some help. Although we got really, really close in 2006, like crazy close to beating them, and I thought we had absolutely no shot at pulling that
if
off.
Michael Ray doesn't step on the sideline on his kick return,
Yeah.
you're at least 21-21 in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
So let them stay down in the dumps. That'd be great. That would be ideal. I watched Miami's spring game. I looked up. It was like on in the background of the house, Corey. I'm just like doing some stuff, and I look at the screen. I'm like, oh wow, man, they got some guys. They just busted off like a 17-yard run, man. Like maybe they got something cooking. And then there was a flag on the play for holding, so they had to bring it back.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, Miami is not back.
Yeah,
it is not back. I shook the 8 ball, so they're not back. All right, last one, Marlon Joker, Gur Wake up, gents. I was expecting a great deal of fireworks on the 4th with recruiting, but other than a few sparklers and a couple of bottle rockets, where are the Big Bang 5-stars? What am I missing with our high school recruiting? Michael, you have some explaining to do. So, with that, Corey, let's bring Michael Langston on to talk recruiting.
Let's do it.
You asked for it, you got it. We got Michael Langston here on Wake Up Warchant. As always, we appreciate Michael being here. All right, Michael, so one of our posters was like, man, 4th of July, where are all my fireworks? All I saw were sparklers and maybe a bottle rocket or two. Our guy Marlon didn't say what went wrong, but I feel like some people think that maybe the 4th of July went wrong. I don't think it went wrong, but, you want to explain what you think happened on the 4th of July when it comes to Florida State and recruiting?
I mean, I think most of it went exactly how we thought. I think they got a top-notch receiver in Elijah Moore. I didn't know how that was going to impact James Madison, 4-star, but seems like you already got 4 guys in there, or 4 or 5, and then you add another one. Obviously, you run out of room, and you still got 5-star or high 4-star JoJo Trader. You still got several guys that they're involved with. So I don't think. And then Kylan Fox, we kind of explained that one throughout the week as far as the 4-star tight ends. So I think they got some. I think the only one that for me that I thought might pop at that moment, that second, was Jonathan Daniels. Yeah. But he wanted to use the top 3 instead of a commitment. But I still feel very good about that one, and that's the only fire. I think if you hit that one, Aslan, I think people have a different view. I mean, if you get a 5-star offensive lineman along with Elijah Moore and Redarius Red Morgan, I think people may have a different perspective. But I think overall it's really good. I think they're on pace to what they expected so far. I think maybe even ahead of it, with them getting a guy like D.D. Holmes, a defensive end 4-star out of the DMV area. I think that was probably a little quicker than they thought they would get him, but they knocked it out of the park. So, yeah, there's still work to do, but I think the fireworks were there.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it, man. Like, we were anticipating Jonathan Daniels making the commitment, but he opted to do a top 3. And as we sit here and talk about this, we still feel pretty good about him committing to the Noles at some point here during the summer, right?
That's correct. And then you also have a few more guys on July 15th. I think Kevin Levy, who's a cousin of Ricky Knight, I think that guy's going to be in the class. Then another one that's exciting is 4-star running back Mekhi Danzy. He's going to commit, I think, on the 15th. I like FSU there. And I've already explained Jonathan Daniels is going to likely commit on either the 14th or 15th. So I think you got some more fireworks coming. So I think it's plenty when you look at what they've done as far as this class and addressing needs. Now, there's a few places that I'm concerned with, like linebacker and defensive tackle, but mildly concerned because of what they do from the portal if those things don't work out where they don't get enough high school kids. So I think overall, I think they're on pace to what they want.
And I feel like you were kind of letting you were setting expectations a little bit when you were talking about wide receivers and just how, dynamic Elijah Moore was, not taking anything away from James Madison, but it felt like maybe Moore was slightly more prioritized than Madison. And as we sit here and talk about this, everybody, so Elijah Moore, 6'4", 195 receiver out of Maryland. He is ranked overall in the country 333rd. All right. And James Madison, 6'3", 190 out of St. Thomas Aquinas. He's ranked 345th. So if you want to pick nits, they took the higher graded prospect, but maybe it's the whole fact that a Florida guys, but I mean, they lost. I don't want to say lost, but he chose Missouri. So, I don't know, maybe that makes it worse than him going to Alabama or something, I guess.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, we'd heard maybe the day before and even the morning that, there wasn't a priority. We didn't feel like there was a priority compared to James Madison when you compare him to Elijah Moore. And I kind of sensed that on the official visit, but I kind of kept that stuff. It's like, you know what, I'm going to do some more intel, do some more research, make sure I'm seeing and feeling what I think is there. Because sometimes you feel stuff that's just like sometimes you overreact and you don't know for sure until you check with your intel and your people around him or people from the FSU side. So, and it felt like after that visit, it was kind of like, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't. You didn't feel it like you did with Elijah, where they were doing really, really detailed things. Like they wanted to knock this out of the park. They wanted to get this done with Elijah Moore this weekend. So it made it feel like that. Now, do I think James Madison was a take? Yeah, I think they would take him if he committed to FSU. I think they would take him, but I also think Moore was the guy on that weekend that certainly came away like, hey, this is the guy they desperately want. And there's still, guys out there. And Cam Coleman committed to Texas A&M. I think FSU is still going to be on that 5-star wide receiver.
Oh,
and then
okay.
JoJo Trader, which made me feel better about FSU later pulling that off, because if he's willing to go to Texas A&M, certainly he's not just locked into staying at home with Auburn, which is I think what a lot of people thought and what I thought. So I think Cam Coleman's a guy that'll stay on. JoJo Trader. And there's always receivers that pop up during the season. So I think they wanted to leave themselves some wiggle room and not just take too many guys where you come back later and say, hey man, we don't have a place for you. I think FSU wanted to make sure we're certain on Elijah Moore. It's kind of like James Madison. We like him, but it didn't like we love him. So that's the impression I got. So I think overall their positions are looking, pretty good, like except for the positions I listed. But like I said, I'm gonna wait and see on that one as far as portal and what comes out there in the summer and during the season. But I think overall they're on pace to what they're supposed to be. I mean, if you look at it, I think they're going to get Charles Lester on July 28th. I think they'll have that one. That'll finish out the summer. And then also, I think they're going to get Jonathan Daniels. I think they're going to get Micaiah Danzy. You add all those 2 5-stars and a solid 4-star up there, they're going to be in the top 10, probably 7, I would think, 6 or 7. So it's going pretty well, guys. It's not a bad thing. It's not doom and gloom. It's not like terrible. It's not falling apart. Just because other schools are getting few more commitments than FSU doesn't mean they're not doing well.
Well said. D.D. Holmes, how big of a deal is that? I mean, I don't want to say reestablish themselves, Michael. I mean, to go and get a guy from the DMV areas, Gonzaga Prep, Washington, D.C., 6'6", 240 edge. When people talk about blue chip percentages on your roster makeup, I mean, this guy's got like that build. Like he's got Patrick Payton body now, whereas we had to kind of wait a year or so for Patrick Payton. How big of a deal do you think D.D. Holmes was for Florida State to pull in during the holiday?
I love Elijah Moore, and that was a massive pickup. I love Rydarius. I have really bragged about Red Morgan. I love him a lot. But I think the biggest takeaway for me was that D.D. Holmes pickup for me, because that was a position of need and a guy that you can develop at your right pace that you want. He flashes as a speed edge rusher. That's what they desperately need on this roster is guys that can get after the quarterback. He fits that mold. Yes, there's technique stuff to finalize and clean up, and certainly his best football is a lot ahead of him, but I think it was massive for them to get somebody in the fold, and then now they can build around that pickup, maybe get a bigger defensive end for the next one, or maybe a different kind of diverse, defensive end. But I think it was big for them getting a guy in there to match with what they already have on the roster. I think it's a big deal. Probably the biggest takeaway for me was, landing DD.
Talk a little about Rydarius Morgan, a.k.a. Red, out of Phoenix City Central High out there. Different body type than a guy like Shyheim, but this kind of feels like one of those, solid kid, really good program, probably a little bit undervalued. He's a 3-star as we sit here and talk, just outside the top 500 in the nation.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think he's significantly undervalued. From what I see when I watch this film, yeah, there's things that you want to see better technique wise, but from a playmaking standpoint, this kid has some of the best, safety highlights, just the instincts, the way he closes on the football, the way he makes plays, the way he's a playmaker on everywhere he plays. Like you put him at receiver, DB, safety, and arguably one of the fastest guys I've seen this year on film. Just watching him, he's up there with some of the top tier guys that are elite as far as the speed. You can't teach speed in the secondary, and you can't teach instincts, and he has both of those. So you start teaching him technique and finalizing those things and maturing his body, and then also just getting him set to the things of what he's supposed to do on the college level. I think it's a tremendous pickup. I think he's going to eventually be a 4-star when more eyes get on him. And I think it's also, it certainly doesn't hurt you for a guy, his teammate in Cam Coleman, 5-star, and that's not why you took him, but to have him in the fold, it's certainly going to be a blessing. But I think this is a guy that I think a lot of people will be hot on later as the season goes when people see him in action. Like I said, you don't usually see that kind of speed from a safety, the way he can close on. Now, he's not a guy you're going to put at corner or stuff like that, but he is a pure safety that can control the center of the field, can really, just close on passing windows, really physical hitter when you need him to be, and just a guy they were really sold on early in the spring. This wasn't a guy that just, bam, they popped up. They got him the visit right after he visited. They offered, they loved his film, and I'm told they actually noticed him after they were watching film, I think, with Cam Coleman and some of the other prospects, and that's when they caught eye of him, and then they shortly offered after that, and then bam, it just took off. But I think it's a really big pickup. It's a really solid pickup, and he's kind of the one that I feel like it's almost like secondary to D.D. Holmes and Elijah Moore and these DMV guys. Like people kind of seem to forget, but it's a big deal getting a talented safety that certainly Adam Fuller was really high on.
MyBookie.ag, promo code WARCHANT, instant cash deposit bonus when you sign up for the first time and use that promo code. Do it. Corey, we have win totals, regular season win totals. Alabama 10.5, over under 10.5 on the Tide. Let's see where we got here. It is paying out plus 147 on the over, minus 182 on the under. We'll go to Florida State. Florida State 9.5, Corey.
Over.
Regular
Let's
season wins.
Yeah, over.
The over.
It's 9.5, really?
Yeah, it's minus 134 on the over. Yeah. If you go under, it's plus 109.
So not that much of a difference. For the folks that aren't real gamblers, that means if you bet $100, you win $109.
Correct.
Basically, you win $209. Sorry, you double. You don't just win $9. You win $109 essentially. So you get your money back that you bet. Because I had to explain this to Stephanie the other day. You get your money back that you. I don't know why, because I didn't win. It was a hypothetical in case I did win. So you're basically. You'd have to bet 130 to win 100.
Yes.
If you bet the
over.
The over, yeah. I'd still do it. I think that's free money, man. That's free money. It's a free $100.
Yeah, what are the 3 losses? LSU, I'll just be really cynical. LSU, Clemson, and then
Wake. Do they ever beat Wake? I don't remember the last time they beat Wake, man. I think Jameis was the quarterback. Pitt, that might be tough. Florida, at Florida. Stuff happens.
You're right. Yeah,
but still, I think the over is a solid bet.
By the way,
and for Alabama, I'm going to say over. I think they'll be one of those teams where it's like, Alabama might be a little dicey this year. No quarterback. They lost 2 games last year or 3 games, whatever it was. They're starting to reel a little bit, and Saban will be like, yeah, sure we are. And they'll go 12-0.
Yeah, well said. You go over to mybookie.ag, use the promo code WARCHAMP. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at mybookie.ag. Last thing I want to get you out on here, Michael. I mean, you mentioned Charles Lester, July 20.
Yeah, it's either you hear 28th and you hear 29. I'm going to say 28th,
Okay.
but either way.
You were saying that probably ends the things out for the summer, but I did see Chad Simmons reporting that Jalewis Solomon,
Right.
I hope I said his name correctly, August 5th is his decision date. He's a athlete, but I think is he more pegged for playing on the defensive side of the ball? 6 foot, 185 out of Schley County.
Yeah, he's probably a mixture of a corner / safety combo defensive back that they like. He's one that before that, I still think Charles is the guy that they want to hit the climax with as far as just nailing it for the summer. And but I think Solomon is certainly a very coveted guy. I'm not going to take anything. I'm not downplaying his decision coming up. I think FSU is the leader. He's going to visit South Carolina right before he makes the decision. That concerns you a little bit. We'll see if he stops by. I've heard he's maybe stopped back by to FSU, but overall they've positioned themselves pretty well with him. I mean, they've been the most consistent. He's visited FSU more than any school, so certainly FSU is the leader in my opinion. But so if he's listening to this, not discounting you, Mr. Solomon, but I'm just focusing on the guy that's been the centerpiece for this class for a while.
Absolutely. All right, so all's well then. So everybody chill out. Michael answered your question. Appreciate it, Michael. Thanks, man.
You got it.
All right, and that is a wrap for all of us here on Wake Up Warchant. Thanks for listening. We'll drop some shows next week per usual. We'll have Ross Dellinger, a national college football writer, on talking about conference realignment, give us maybe a little glimpse of what he thinks the LSU Florida State game may shake out to look like. And maybe another interview somewhere sprinkled there in the week. We're trying, everybody. I promise we are trying. But everybody's got these weird schedules, and they're trying to live life too. So just subscribe. You'll see when the shows drop. Hit the thumbs up, 5-star rating and review. For Michael and Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you so much for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.